and welcome to the show. It feels so, I just want to say that it feels so crazy thinking about this and saying this out loud. You have no idea how many times I have done this over and over and over, but I just couldn't bring myself to just publishing it and putting it out into the world. I have had the name figured out, of course. I have had the podcast cover designed. I have had the scripts written. I have recorded this probably about 7 times already, but I just couldn't bring myself to just publish it. But I just thought to myself, look, it's your first one. It's your first podcast episode. It's going to be crappy. Your first 10, first 100 are going to be crappy, but that's okay. Because as long as it can just achieve the goal that you wanted to achieve, and as long as it's something that makes you feel excited and something that makes you passionate about what you're doing, then that's all that really matters. And yeah, I feel like that's just an important lesson for me, and probably also for you as listening. I mean, there you go, value out the gate, So you might be wondering, who am I? Well, my name is Tim Evertser. I'm passionate about education and I'm passionate about serving other people. The reason why I'm passionate about serving and service is because I'm a proud Christian, and service is one of the core tenets in Christianity. It comes from the example of Jesus Christ when he died on the cross to save the lives of sinners and save the lives of people who he knew hated him, but he loved them nonetheless, and he put himself above. He put others before himself, and that's something that I really admire about him, and that's something that I don't just want to live up to as a Christian, which I know I probably could never, but it's also a practice that I want to build into my life, and I have been doing my best to build into my life, of serving other people and putting other people before myself and thinking of the needs of other people. And I've done this in many ways. I've done this through giving personal advice. I've done this through talking to people. I've done this through the various initiatives that I've been a part of. But I think one of the greatest ways that I have been able to help people is through tutoring. I've always been strong in my academics, and honestly, the ability to just give someone information and give them skills to empower them and to make them perform better and do better in whatever test is coming up. It just, to see someone improve like that because of something that you were able to do, it's just so fulfilling, and it leaves me feel fulfilled. And so that's why I'm passionate about serving, and that's why I'm passionate about education. So you might also be wondering, why on earth would I start a podcast? Well, obviously you can hear that I love talking. And yeah, one of the reasons is just that so many people have asked me for advice in the past, advice about mental health, advice about time management, advice about exam performance, and people just really want to hear my opinion, I found. And so I thought, maybe this might be a great way to help them out. Maybe if there's whatever question they may have for me on ways that I can help them out, I can just record this and direct them to this episode, or direct them to a particular podcast episode about a particular topic. And I believe that's an amazing way that I can help them. And yeah, like I said, I'm really focused on empowering the people around me, so giving them education but with the purpose of helping them achieve their goals, information with the purpose of implementation. And so yeah, so not just giving you information, not just giving you knowledge, but helping you to use that knowledge to change your life for the better. Yeah, it also serves as a great asset for my CV and my portfolio, because that's some shameless authenticity from me. And yeah, I mean, if I go into an interview room and I can say, oh, I've got a podcast that people like to listen to, and I'm like, oh, damn. And people, oh, damn, you got a podcast? Wow, that's so cool, And so it might help me out there. And also, it's just a great way for me to just talk about the stuff that I'm interested in. I'm interested in so many things, and I might have writer's block when I'm writing about that, but I can never have speaker's block because I'm always talking, and as you can tell, I'm quite bubbly. And yeah, and also it's also an amazing excuse to talk to amazing people on the Holistic Growth Show. Yeah, by the way, if you haven't heard, the name of the show is Holistic Growth Show. And yeah, I just love talking to people, and I'm currently in my life, I'm just surrounded by the most amazing people, from musicians to actors to singers and sports people and music producers and people who work in catering and people who do video editing and people who do photography and writers and poets and people who are involved in journalism. It's so amazing the people that I have around me, and I'm always inspired by them, and I'm always learning from them. And I thought, having a podcast and doing an interview with them is always an amazing thing, and would be an amazing thing to do. As you can tell, my favorite word is amazing, but that's not my favorite word compared to lush. And there we go. I've said lush for the first time on the show, and it will now become a staple word, which is, as I say, quite lush. So I think the next thing to do is just to talk about the goal that I have for this podcast, or the goals that I have for this podcast. So, as you can tell, the name is the Holistic Growth Show. Now, what does that mean? Holistic growth means growth in every aspect. And I'm so in love with the idea, and so in love with the idea of helping people grow in every aspect of themselves. And so my goal for this podcast is just to empower students like me, because yes, I am a student, I'm still a student, and I'm unashamed of that. And my goal is to empower students like me to have essential skills that aren't really taught in school. Things like, ironically, how to do well on exams, how to obtain bursaries, how to do well in an interview, how to manage your time, basic cooking skills, how to write a CV, how to build a business, things like doing research properly. All these sorts of skills that are really important, but school isn't teaching us this sort of things. And so I figured, if I learn it, it's no harm in me showing someone else how to do it. And that's something that I find fulfilling. And yeah, I hope you find it helpful as well. And also, if ever I find something cool along the way, I'll talk about it on the show, whether it's something to do with mindset or mental health, something to do with productivity or procrastination, something to do with careers and entrepreneurship, or philosophy, or whatever the case may be. If whatever I find interesting and I think might help you or might be beneficial to you, I'll share it, and hopefully you'll find it as interesting as I will. Yeah. So, goals for this podcast in terms of when and what I want to talk about. Uh, so, I'm looking to drop the Holistic Growth Show every Wednesday, and I'm aiming for the 30-minute mark in terms of episode length. It might be a bit longer, might be a bit shorter, depending on the nature of the topic, but I'm looking for that 30-minute mark. And yeah, you can listen to this while you're doing the dishes. You can listen to this on your commute. You can listen to this if you have nothing else to do as well. And yeah, I just really value your company, and I would really value your listening time and your input. And speaking of valuing your input, I just want to implore you to just reach out. I'm very much a people's person, and I love making connections and talking to people. So if you want to find me, I'm on quite a few social media platforms. I'm on Instagram. You can find me at tim.evertse. That's Evertse. You can find me on Twitter at Tim Evertse. You can find me on Instagram's new app Threads at tim.evertse. And I'm also on Substack. You can find me on tevertse.substack.com. You can just take that URL and stick it right into the search engine, and you'll find me. And hopefully you will be able to reach out. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think of the show. I'd love to hear what you want me to talk about, or even just like how you're doing. And like, yeah, I'd just love to meet you. And yeah, and on that note, I'd like to say that I hope you are lush, and I hope you are having fun with your life, and that you'll stick around on this journey with me as I explore the essential skills that aren't really taught in school. And I hope that this podcast will be something that is a positive influence on your life, and it will empower you to change your life. Yeah, stay lush and have an amazing day.